Hey, it's Brian Wright from BrianWright732.com, and I'm talking about failure once again. Failure, it's a horrible word, it's a big word, it just has such a negative connotation to it. But it's something that you got to accept if you're ever going to go for something. If you're going to strive to do something big, if you have a big goal, aspiration, whatever, failure is always going to be part of the process. You know, 1 in a billion is going to be able to make every step without stumbling. The rest of us, we're probably going to stumble more than we're successful, but then when we ultimately achieve our success, it makes all the stumbling worthwhile, and then it's not stumbling, it's all building blocks that led towards that success. And that's really the main thing. It's how you look at everything that's going on that's really going to set you up to ultimately get success. So you've got to look at it as, micro failures, but macro success, meaning if you have little failures along the way that ultimately are going to lead to a big success, you're going to be okay. I say this all the time to people, is that you can lose battles, but you have to win the war. So as long as you stay engaged and you keep fighting and doing what you have to do to be successful and then ultimately achieving your goal, you're great. The key is to not let one individual moment stop you from that original idea or dream you had, however long ago it was. So when you get stuck and, you get into a stumbling block and you feel like maybe you're at your best, or you've done the most, or you're at some all-time high and then something doesn't work and you're starting to doubt yourself, you always have to go back to that original concept that got you started anyway. And you've got to remind yourself why you set out to do what it is you're going to do. You've got to look at where you're at, and you've got to, analyze. Sometimes there are goals that we're trying to achieve that, we may have missed the window to achieve those goals. And then we have to go back and we have to say, okay, what did I learn in the process of striving for this? And now what's going to be the next goal that I can go for? And I can use all of the information I learned in this other section to apply it to, my future actions or my current actions to achieve something else. So if you're a physical person, if you're an athlete, let's say, and you want to be a professional athlete, your window is limited. If you wake up and you're 38 years old and you're still not there on the physical side of it, well, you've got to understand your body's not going to perform any better than it does right now. So you better shift your goals. In a lot of ways, that's been the situation that I went through. I spent pretty much my 20s and my early 30s striving to be a world champion. I never achieved the world championship status that I was looking for, but now, so okay, let's do a quick rewind. I really did strive extremely hard, dedicated my entire life to being a champion. I've won events, I've been a champion at times, but I never won like the big world title that I was looking for. I was never a K1 champ or anything like that, which is fine by me now because, when I had to stop because my body just wouldn't perform anymore. I had neck problems, I had back problems. It was just too much to be able to run my business and train and whatever. Then I went into what I call a lost period. So I'll say between 34 and 40. It's not that I was unsuccessful in that time. It was that it was unappreciated value of my previous experience time. So I lived from 34 to 40 feeling like I had to redo a lot of things instead of understanding that I had done so much that had value, and that value can be applied to what I'm doing now and can be turned into, the fuel to success, a future goal. So at 42 years old, it's a completely different situation for me than I was at 40. I did a retirement fight at 40, which kind of brought everything back into perspective for me because I put myself through a camp and I put myself in the ring and I did fight somebody. And looking at it from a 40-year-old perspective versus a 30. At 30, all I had was my business. At 40, I have a wife and I have a son, and I still have a business, and I have responsibilities that are completely different. So now everything I do has to filter towards the success that I need due to a different level of responsibility I have. I hope that makes sense for you. So now, 2 years after that, I'm starting to really understand the value of everything I had done prior in terms of my traveling, my training, the commitment, the push factor, the successes and the failures all along the way have added up to me really understanding what my value is and what I can provide as a service for the people that I work with. So I understand the level of endurance that I have. I understand that I have a different worldview because I was afforded the opportunity to see the world 2 times over at least through my fight career. I mean, at one point I did 13 countries in, 7 years. And, I traveled the world. I met a lot of people, did a lot of really cool things, pushed myself, sacrificed, been through the kind of the grinder that any aspiring athlete goes through. And coming out on the other side, now I understand what it means to create success. I understand what success is for me. It's not the world title at this point. It's the ability to convey my experience in a way that will create other world champions, will create successes in multiple businesses and multiple relationships in a lot of different areas. So when you look at yourself, you've got to look at every block of time that you're going through where you set out to do something and you either fall short or you find it. Take the information that you learn in that block, reassess your values, reassess your goals, and then move forward again. You've got to bring your knowledge forward constantly. You can't forget your experience. You can't forget your successes and your failures. You can't forget, the experience basically, because that is you. That is the value of your life. If you, shake off everything that you've personally done, you're really shorting yourself. You're keep trying to reinvent the light bulb. You couldn't do it when you were 20. I don't know why you think you're going to be able to do it when you're 30 if you're ignoring the experience in between. Does that make sense to you? So no matter where you are, no matter what goal you hit or fell short from, you've got to analyze your chunks of time, and you've got to take away what is valuable to what it is you're setting out to do now. You don't want to just bring forward the negative and consider yourself to be a failure. Again, I wanted to be a world champ because I never achieved world championship status. It doesn't doom me to failure for the rest of my life. It actually is the rocket fuel for me to achieve a higher level of success at other aspects of my life because I worked so hard and I proved so much to myself and I learned so much and absorbed so much experience that now I really do have the foundation, the fundamental skills and the drive to do whatever the hell it is I want. And I've recently made the choice of what I want to do, and right now you're part of that process, because for me now it's all about translating experience in a valuable way so that other people can benefit from the struggles that I've been through and the successes that I've discovered. And now going forward, I want to bring as many people as possible into my bubble, I guess, or expand my bubble to incorporate. I don't really know how I want to say that, but I want to create as large a group as possible of people that I can interact with in a way that I can create success for them and they can create success for me. So it's a mutually beneficial situation. That's my personal sitch. Now you have to do the same thing for yourself. You have to define, how is my experience going to carry over into the next phase of whatever it is I'm going to do. Experience should not be a lead weight that drowns you. Experience should be a building block on which you're building foundations on. So in life, you don't necessarily live in the same house. You might have to knock your house down and build a new one because it got old, or you might have to move to accommodate your growing family. Our situations are constantly changing. So the foundation you built when you were 18 may not be the foundation you need when you're 24, which may not be the one you need when you're 30 or when you're 40, when you're 50 or you're 60. So building is part of the process. And reestablishing your foundation is always part of the process. And every block of time we've got, they need to accumulate to even stronger and stronger foundations. So eventually you get into that place where you have a bedrock foundation that you can build whatever the hell it is you want off of it, because you've acquired so much experience and skill and appreciation for everything that you can build what you want. So that's the ideal situation, and that's what hopefully we're struggling for. The majority of us tend to get into a situation where we're struggling with our past instead of building upon it. So we've got to get past the wrestling with our history, and we have to start moving forward and building off of it. So that's it's a Monday also that I'm doing this, and it's a perfect opportunity to start another work week with some more positive foundations. So again, let's start building this week. Let's struggle less, build more, find that success. Everything you've done in the past is the fuel, the experience, the knowledge, everything you need to make better decisions how you're going forward. So appreciate your past, respect your past, love your past, embrace your past, and use it to create the future that you exactly want. All right? Have a good one.